So I wanted to talk about how the names of characters and places and concepts arise in the creation of the Books of Magra. And there'll be a little bit more of a connect to how this process relates to everything else in the Books of Magra ecosystem. Now, when the Books of Magra first came to me, came into my awareness, I saw a scene in my mind's eye. And more than that, I felt it in my body. And in the process of writing this scene, I was there. I was in that place. I was feeling what the character was feeling. And as that was happening, I was getting the names of character, place, and even of some concepts and ideas. And this initial coming into the awareness of the Books of Magra set a tone and a rhythm for what has been the evolving process for me of creating from that awareness of the Books of Magra. And the best way that I can explain what that is to refer to it as sonic signatures. So what happens is that I initially feel a sound. So just by way of an analogy, imagine that at a distance you hear a rumbling and you can't make out what it is. It could be a distant vehicle, it could be an earthquake, it could be maybe some kind of construction in the place or the building that you're in per se. And then over time, you hear the sound more, perhaps it's getting closer. And as that progresses on, you are able to say, well, no, it wasn't a truck, it was actually a car with a very big engine in it, or something to that effect. So basically, over time, you are able to orient yourself with that sound. So in the creation of the Books of Magra, there is this experience I have, which is very visceral, of these sonic signatures. But when they first happen, they don't really have a clear shape. Like, they're very initiatory moment. That could be very brief, or it could be a little bit longer. But then from there, that ambiguous sonic signature presence takes a shape, takes a sonic shape, and it becomes quite often a name. So it could be a name of a character, a name of a place, or it could be the name of a concept, or an idea, or a philosophy. Anything that is a part of the Books of Magra ecosystem. And then, over time, that name sits with me. It is with me. It stays with me. You could say it's like a lozenge that dissolves, while at the same time it's a seed that grows and expands. And as it does, I learn more about it, and then I start to see how it relates to other elements of the Books of Magra. I was asked about this a few years ago, and the way that I explained it was to say that imagine you have just an open space, like a three-dimensional open space, no concern for gravity or any particular motion, but in that empty space, you just see this dot emerge, just hanging there. And then over time, it gradually gets bigger and bigger, and it reveals more contrast and quality and character and depth and texture. And while that's happening, it's also happening in other places at the same time. And so as all of these objects that are growing and morphing and developing, they get closer and closer to one another. And then eventually they touch. And then they not only touch, they interact. They go inside one another. They occupy, if you will, the same space, but in so doing, they not only influence one another, they also may generate new growth, new points that are going to develop, surprises, as I'm very fond of talking about. And so this is basically how this process of creating the Books of Magra and creating from it has emerged, has, well, revealed this process with it in terms of understanding its elements and the relational qualities that are happening between them. And this process, yes, that light just went out. This has been happening to me many times. So this process of the creation or the awareness of names through these sonic signatures is not only for characters and places and concepts. It's also very attuned to the way in which I receive the music and the images and the architectural concepts and how they all interact. And one of the things that I feel very grateful for in this process with the Books of Magra is that it's not only revealed to me that this process and this relationship with it, but it's shown me how this is very much a part of me. This is very much how I am, as I am in this experience of being human. And I would like to say more about that, but I think at this time I'm still a little bit at a loss for words, ironically, to actually speak about it with more clarity in how it's very much who I am. But I feel a great deal of gratitude because this process of exploring it and allowing it to reveal itself, of these sonic signatures, has enabled me in a number of ways to become much more aware of myself, much more attuned and aligned with myself, and by extension with people in my life and the events that I experience.